Hello guys, this is Bone from BoneTeaches, and today I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to start my C++ tutorial series, and I'd like to thank all of the backpack.tf forum users who voted and inspired me to start with the series. So before we begin, I'd like to tell you something about this course. I'll be posting as many videos as I can a week, hopefully at least one or two, and at the end of each video you'll be given some questions and assignments which you can solve for practice, which would be related to the stuff I taught you in that specific video itself. And if you have any concerns about those, you could email me at boneteaches@gmail.com. So to begin with, first of all, to begin with C++, we need an IDE. An IDE is a program which allows you to write code and compile it and then run it. So I'll be using Microsoft Visual Studio, which you can download from visualstudio.com, and this link will be given in the description. So once you've downloaded it, you're just going to start a new project, okay, and you choose Visual C++, Win32 console application, and name it whatever you want. I'll just name it BoneTeaches CPP, and click on next and choose empty project here. Okay, this is important. Choose empty project, press finish. I'm sorry, I'm a bit sick. Okay, so you'll be greeted with this, and now in source files what you want to do is you want to right click and add a new item, choose a C++ file and just press add. So this is the file, the main file where you'll start with writing the program. So I'm gonna write a small program right now which would display hello world on the screen, and then line by line explain you what it does and how it works. Okay, so okay, so sorry. Okay, so this program basically what it does is, oops, sorry, my bad. Okay, so what this program does is it basically just, okay, this is the run button. Okay, you can test your apps using this. So if you press run and your program will launch, you'll see that it just shows hello world, right? And if you press any key it will terminate. So now to begin with, let's start understanding this code. The first two lines, the hashtag include iostream and hashtag include conio.h. Okay, first of all, let's understand what a hashtag is. A hashtag is called a preprocessor directive. Okay, a preprocessor directive, which basically specifies code which the compiler will run while compiling the application. Okay, like a normal code, like say this code, which if you have any experience with programming languages you would know that this is the line due to which hello world shows up on screen. This code takes place when the program runs, right? Then only hello world is shown. Whereas these lines run while the program is compiling to make the executable file, the exe file. uh, that time this code is running. So a hashtag basically specifies code which would run during build time. Okay, and include these are called header files. Okay, iostream and conio.h are called header files, and header files are basically predefined code in the C++ syntax which contains functions. You'll learn more about functions later, but they are the reason you basically that these commands are working. Okay, so like this underscore get ch command, this is present in the conio.h header file, and cout is present in the iostream header file. if I were to say remove one of these, say if I were to remove conio.h and run the run the program, it would have an error. See, there were build errors, and the error would be underscore get cs not found. It is undefined. That is because the compiler does not know that something like this is present, because we haven't included conio.h. So these once this is cleared, using namespace std stand sorry this line, what it does is cout itself is a function, right? But cout is present in the namespace std. If I were to remove this line, the command cout would not be found. You could either write it as std colon colon, that would work, just like it did before. There are other commands also, like cin, which is used for input, and a lot of other commands which we'll learn later. So basically, to use those, you can either write std colon colon cout std colon colon cin, or you can just include that namespace up here using namespace std, and now you don't have to worry about writing this part. Okay, so then comes the int main. This is the real code, the one that's actually working. So what main specifies is main, whatever is inside the brackets which start after main. So between this and this bracket, that is this code, is the one which will run when the program starts. When the program starts initially, it will try to run this code, and int basically specifies that the main function, it will give a value upon running, you can see this return 0 line. It is because it's a int function. It returns an integer. You will learn more about int and different data types later in this tutorial series. But for right now, you need to remember that modern C++ compilers use prefix the main function with int, whereas older compilers like Turbo C++, they use void main. Void is a type which has no value. So if I were to write void here, I would not have to write return 0. But with modern C++ compilers, that's not an option. You have to use int, and then obviously we come down to these two lines, cout hello world. Cout is basically telling the compiler that you have to push an output, type something on the console application screen, which would be in this case hello world. Double quote specifies a string, that is anything inside the double quotes would be printed, and underscore get ch is basically a command which waits for any key press. You see how I had to press a button to terminate the program. If the get ch line was not there, the program would just display hello world and then close itself like this. See, it stopped itself. So get ch basically prevents that, as it waits for the user to press a button before it ends. But now this program in itself is hardly of any use who wants to display predefined sentences. So I'm going to be introducing the concept of variables now. Variables are basic. Okay, before I explain variables, there's a small part which are called comments. Comments in code, which are basically put there for the programmer to understand why he did something, or if he wanted to, like, basically for your own use. It is, you can write comments in the code which doesn't affect the code. Okay, they're kind of like notes. So if I would write hello, say hi, 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 whatever, uh, a double slash, it indicates a single line comment. This green part is the comment, and it won't affect the output in any way. This is a single line comment. Say if I were to write something in the next line, it would be treated as code. But and you can also make multiple lines comments by a slash and an asterisk, and anything between, and it is ended by an asterisk and a slash, and anything between these is a comment. See, none of this would affect the output in any way. Okay, so now that we're done with comments, I'm gonna start with variables, which are basically used in almost pretty much every program. So variables are basically just like maths, you can say. um, they are given names and they can be assigned different values and they can be used in place of those values. Now the question arises, why use variables and why not just use predefined values? So the thing is, maybe sometimes you want to accept input from the user, right? And that input, you don't know what it is, you can't predefine it, you don't know what the user might enter, so you can store it in a variable to display it. Variables have different data types. The most commonly used one are integer, character, and float, and double. Float and integer can basically have any integer value, negative from minus 65535, I think, till positive 65535. Char stands for character, and it can have any single character value like alphanumeric or special character, dashes, hyphens, whatever, just a single character though. And there are ways to include multiple characters called strings. You'll learn about those later when you learn arrays. And there are float and double are basically kind of like integer values but with decimals. They have different sizes. Double can accept more values with float than float, like it has a bigger range. So say to define a variable, you just write the data type followed by its name. Say int a char b. Oh, by the way, you might notice that I've written a semicolon after each statement here. Semicolon specifies that the statement has ended and the compiler should move on to the next piece of code. Whereas you might notice that in these include lines there is no semicolon. That is because when we specify a preprocessor directive command, that is one which starts with a hashtag, it automatically runs till the end of the line and you don't have to put any sort of semicolon there. Whereas in all these lines there are semicolons. Okay, so please note that if you miss a semicolon you'll get errors. So yeah, int a, char b, float c, whatever, and you can assign the values. Say a is equal to 5, a is equal to 5. You can then output the value just like this. See, there are no double quotes here because if I put double quotes it will actually output the letter A, but we don't want that. We wanted to output the value of A, so there are no double quotes. Okay, so like if you try to run this, you'll be treated with hello world 5. See, hello world 5. I should have included a line break so that it moves to the next line. That can be done by typing C out this and end L. Sorry, end L. This basically specifies a line break and the next cout command moves on to the next line. See? Okay, now another thing you need to know about cout is that you can specify multiple couts in a single line. Like here you have two different commands, right? You can combine these by typing it like this: cout and L. Sorry. Yeah, cout and A, and then the semicolon. This would still give you the same output. See? Now, okay, now that we are clear on variables, you know the basics of variables, what to do with these variables. So, I'm gonna introduce the concept of operators now. Some simple operators like say plus, minus, divide, multiply, modulus, blah blah blah, like math. So, say we have a is equal to 5. Let's make b also an integer value, int a, int b, and b is equal to 10, and let's say int x is equal to a plus b. This would do exactly what you're imagining. It will add up the values of a and b, and the x variable, it would have a value of 15. So if you print out x and run it, you should get hello world 550. See, You can have plus, minus, divide, multiply, modulus. Okay, some of you people might not know what modulus is. Modulus is okay. So basically, the plus sign stands for plus, the minus sign stands for minus. For multiply, you use the asterisk. So if I were to say int x is equal to a into b, it would be a asterisk b, and if I were to say a divided by b, it would be a slash b, and for modulus it would be a percentage symbol b. Now what modulus does is modulus returns the remainder of the division. Say you put up, say, 13 modulus 4. Okay, so 4, the table of 4 goes like 4, 8, 12, 16, right? So before 13 it reaches 12, so the remainder is 1. So 13 modulus 4 would give you 1. It returns the remainder. This is a very useful piece of code in checking if a number is even or odd, because you can modulus it by 2. Any even number mod by 2 would give 0, any odd number would give 1. So that's a really useful piece of code you should remember. And other than that, okay, there are some more operators like plus is equal to, minus is equal to. What these do is, say you had to increment the value of a itself. Okay, so what you can say, you had to increment, say you had to add 5 to a. You could either do a is equal to a plus 5, which sets its value to the current value plus 5, or another way would be typing it like a plus is equal to 5, which does basically the same thing. Okay, it adds it adds 5 to its own value. Similarly, minus is equal to, multiply is equal to, divide is equal to, mod equal to. It's all the same thing. And then there are increment and decrement operators, which increase or decrease the value by 1. Say a plus plus, it would make a's value 6, b minus minus would make b's value 9, and so on. In the next tutorial I'll be beginning with some if and else concepts. You can find the question list in the description, some basic questions, and yeah, okay, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.